What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? Tonight we are going over an M. Benz video. In this particular video, M. Benz says a bunch of stupid shit about science. He makes a lot of claims about science and he actually gets shit backwards as per the usual. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I hope you heathens are ready for that. All right, so we have, once it, there it goes, finally pulled up. All right, so we've got M. Benz tonight, who doesn't know a fucking thing about science. So let's get on into exactly how he's going to misrepresent science tonight. Straw mans are going to be readily available, along with false equivalence fallacies.
I had to stop you first.
Okay.
0, 1, 1, 3, 2. Every time GE a demon things.
0, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2 said every time GE sings, a demon gets its wings. That's good there, Zero. I appreciate that. All right, so now that we're done giving all of the demons their wings, let's get to M. Benz. He's got quality flat Earth content. Just mwah. I commented on his video earlier and I said, I'm gonna rip this video a new asshole. And guess what? I'm gonna pull through.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is M. Benz, back with another video for you here today. And today we are talking about, do you even science, bro? And the reason why I bring this up is because all the time down in my comments, I keep hearing, oh, you need to go back to school and learn science. The education system has failed you. Do you even know science? You only believe in flat earth because you don't know anything about science. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Hear that all the time. Now,
well, you probably hear it all the time because you make a bunch of scientific statements or so-called scientific statements, or you use scientific principles, theories, or facts in order to support your own flat earth opinion. Like, for instance, you think that the moon is small and local as well as the sun. You think that the earth is flat and everything like that, and you use scientific principles in order to prove it, like perspective and shit like that. So, excuse us for telling you that you can't use science appropriately, when you obviously can't. Sean Hawkins said, wisdom is the domain of the wis, which is extinct. Beauty is the French phonetic corruption of the short cloth neck ornament currently in resurgence. Oh, well, information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not wisdom. Wisdom is not truth. Truth is not beauty. Beauty is not love. Love is not music. Music is the best. Okay, he was continuing his thing. Urban Imposter, who's part of the Skeptic Mafia, said, I thought demons use jetpacks. All right.
science is one of those things that globies try to use against flat earthers and say we don't know science, so they're smarter than us because they can rattle off all these, a plethora of scientific words, and they have a plethora of scientific words in their vernacular that they got from science.com. So they sit here and they say, oh, well, flat earthers are idiots or stupid or whatever words you want to call us because we don't know science. Now,
well, no, actually, it's not because you don't know science. If you just simply didn't know science or the scientific method or anything like that, we would be more than happy to educate you on it. We'd be happy to talk with you on it, discuss things with you. That's not why we say that you're ignorant or stupid. The reason why we say that you're ignorant or stupid is because you make ignorant or stupid statements, claims, or assert things as fact when they're not actually a fact. That's why we call you stupid, not because you can't do science or you're not capable of doing science, but because you spout off these things that are just not scientific while at the same time claiming that they are scientific.
before we move forward with the video, let's talk about science. So, scientific method, right?
Okay, so sorry to stop it so quick, but I just want to make the sort of I just want to say that science is different than the scientific method. Like, the scientific method is the process that you go through in order to validate or invalidate a hypothesis. And then you can make different kind of statements or observations or whatnot from there. Science itself is a discipline that seeks to figure out the truth of reality. And that's what science is. So scientific method and science are two things in the same kind of area, but they're two different things.
Right, pretty basic, right? Got the chart here. Chart, pretty basic, right? Chart, as you see. So it starts with, you ask a question. You do some research. You construct a hypothesis. You test that hypothesis with an experiment. Now, is the procedure working? Is it no or yes? You analyze the data. You come up with your conclusion. And then you communicate the results to the scientific community. So
hold on. But before he continues right here, I want to say that he totally neglected the part, which I'll actually go back a little bit before he takes it off the screen. He totally neglects this right side of the screen there where it says results align partially or not at all with hypothesis, and then you go back up, experimental data becomes background research for a new or future project, ask new question, form new hypothesis, experiment again, and then you go through that process. The scientific method is an iterative process. That means you go through different iterations until you can make some observations or make some statements. That's what it's used for. What he did right there was totally bypass that and go directly to make or make like a statement or a claim. And that's not at all how the scientific method works. He is not starting out on a good foot here.
Analyze the data, you come up with your conclusion, and then you communicate the results to the scientific community so it can be replicated or repeated. Science, right? So you have an idea, you put together a whole hypothesis, you have your theory, you test your theory, you put the results out based on whatever the results may be, whether the experiment failed, the experiment was a success, whether it proved or disproved your theory, your hypothesis, put those things out, and it's repeatable, retestable, and observable, right? So let's say, we're gonna say water sticks to the outside of a rotating ball, right?
So he's got a meme here, which he flashes these really quick, and I just want to read them off because they're all incredibly stupid. If gravity is strong enough to overcome centrifugal force at the equator where Earth spins at 1,000 miles per hour, how is it that we weight the same at the equator as we do at the poles? Okay, for one thing, we don't exactly weigh the same at the equator as we do at the poles. There's an obvious difference there, albeit you won't be able to really determine it all that much. There's a much bigger difference in when you go through elevation. What? Well,
what's the difference?
Huh? Well, okay, so the difference is minor between the poles and the equator, and you have a greater difference when you go higher in elevation and lower in elevation or at sea level. So the difference is there, albeit you can't detect it like on a scale or something like that. But what I will say is that we don't feel the 1,000 miles per hour at the equator or anywhere else on the Earth. What you actually feel is the rotational speed, and that's very, very slow. So right here, this entire meme is bullshit.
You ask that question, does water stick to the outside of a rotating ball? Well, we don't know. You do a little bit of research on the properties of water, the properties of a ball, the properties of gravity, and then you go in the lab and you try to test this hypothesis of water in the ball and does water stick to the outside of a rotating ball. You try to replicate that experiment and then you publish your results. Now,
okay, so basically what he wants is to have an experiment you can run in the lab where you can basically create like a pocket little universe right there in the lab. You can crank up the fucking gravity, and then you can sprinkle fucking water on a ball as it spins and see the water stick to the ball in this super gravity kind of well that you have in your lab. This is not how that particular experiment would work. That particular experiment would be based on observations, things that you can look out into the universe and you can see happening. Like we can see other planets. We can detect other planets that could have liquid water on them. You can test the force of gravity, and then you could use those tests to interpret like how gravity would react in certain situations. And so it's not just that we have to have like that particular setup or whatnot in the lab, and if you can't do that, or if you just take a soccer ball or a tennis ball out there, you spray it with water, you spin it around, and all the water flies off of it, that does not actually mean that you have disproven gravity. Because that is not what the theory of gravity is saying. That's not what Newton's theory of gravity says. That's not what special relativity or general relativity says. That's not what any scientific principle about gravity or physics actually says. So what you're doing is you're building a straw man experiment. You're testing that straw man experiment. It's failing. And then you're just declaring gravity to be not real. That is not science.
I did some Google searching out there. I cannot find a test that replicates water sticking to the outside of a spinning ball in any scenario. So that.
Well, okay, for one thing, what you can do is you can, if you actually look at like a tennis ball, you dunk it in water and then you spin it around really fast and then you get it back. It's not going to be completely dry, right? I mean, it's still going to be wet. There's still going to be water stuck to it. So just because some water flies off of it doesn't mean that all water flies off of it. You spin a fucking ball around, it's not going to be instantly dry. So I don't even know, like even on your own straw man-y kind of experiment here, it doesn't make sense.
It tells me that that is just a theory, right? Number one on the theory calendar, black holes. That's a question.
Okay, hold on. He said this is a theory kind of thing. No, it's not a theory. Well, gravity is both a theory and a law. Like there's a law of gravity, but there's also a theory of gravity. And we've had to change this theory of gravity over time. Because you had Newtonian gravity at first, and then you had Einstein with his special relativity, and then or general relativity, and then special relativity. So we've expanded this idea several times, and we've augmented this theory that surrounds all of it. But we've had to come up with new theories every time. Do you remember back to his little flowchart where it had, you know, refactor or ask a new question, create a new hypothesis, and then you go back through and you retest everything? That's the part that he's missing right here.
Should black holes exist? Can we test this? Can we repeat it? Can we observe it? No. Put that in the theory column. I mean,
we can observe black holes, and that's what he was talking about right there. He says, do black holes exist? And we can, we can't directly observe them, but we can observe the effects they have on their surrounding area. Like, for instance, you can detect a black hole by measuring how fast the gases are moving around it. You can test for a black hole by the amount of X-rays that are given off from a galaxy. And it's thought that there is a black hole in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. There's also black holes in the middle of other galaxies that are out there. So we've been able to scientifically test these things using our theories on gravity and special relativity and general relativity. We've been able to use these to accurately predict things, and they have actually come true. That is the power of theories, because theories tell you like how you can do something or explain, you know, how things work. That's what theories do. And he fundamentally misunderstands what a theory is because he thinks that it goes from hypothesis to theory to fact. And that's not at all what the process is. That is nowhere in the scientific literature at all.
And we can go on and on. Big Bang Theory. Big Bang Theory. You ask questions. The Big Bang Theory happened. Can you repeat it? Can you test it? Can you observe it? No.
Yes, you can. You can observe it. For one thing, we have gravitational waves. Those can be detected using high precision lasers. We have the WMAP, the cosmic microwave background radiation image, where we can actually see the radiation from the Big Bang. There are multiple ways that we can actually determine this. And the theory surrounding the Big Bang has not been proven to be false and has only been proven to be true as time goes on. The theory allows us to make predictions and detect things, like, for instance, gravitational waves. That was predicted by the Big Bang Theory. And because we were able to actually detect them, that validates the Big Bang Theory.
Boom. That falls into the theory category.
Huh? Well, okay, yeah, it wasn't a boom. It wasn't a boom. They always misunderstand it to think that it was some giant explosion when it really was just the rapid expansion at the very beginning of the universe.
Category. Can you make something orbit around something else with gravity? They say planets orbit around each other, we orbit around the sun, and everything orbits around the sun in our galaxy because of a phenomenon called gravity. We ask the question, can we make two objects orbit around each other, or one orbit around the other due to gravity? We ask that question, we gather our research, we gather our data, we do an experiment, and we see if that idea can be replicated, repeated, and observed. The answer to that question is no, falls into the theory category.
No. Okay. He it's really tricky, honey, because he says these things and then he says falls into the theory category, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. Because while gravity is a theory and there's multiple theories surrounding gravity, that doesn't mean like just because to him it fails, it falls into this theory category, which I have to preface by saying he's using theory to mean unproven, wild-haired idea, okay? And that's not what a theory is. Colloquially, yes, a theory means a guess. But even a hypothesis isn't just some random guess. It is a scientific kind of guess. And so when he says it just falls into the theory, he's trying to push it aside as if to say it's unproven, when in reality, scientific theories are made from scientific facts. And they are supported by scientific facts. Usually there's multiple hypotheses. Usually there's multiple hypotheses that can go into creating a single theory. So it's not like, you know, he's disproven like this one part of it and it just magically goes away, or it magically becomes a theory. It was always a theory. We just, if he were to actually disprove the theory, we would just have to refactor the theory, retest it, and develop this new theory. It would start out as a hypothesis, of course, and we would go through all of that and eventually coalesce into a scientific theory. So, this is just more proof that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Also, we have multiple repeatable instances of things orbiting the fucking Earth. Satellites, we got so many fucking satellites up there. The GPS system is proof for it. He has literally no evidence to say that satellites don't exist, but that's what he would say.
So, getting back to the word science, and they say, hey, oh, do you even know anything about science, bro? You don't know anything about science. You're trying to pass off your channel as scientific fact. I never said anything on this channel is scientific fact because science is based on a list of theories.
No, science is not based on a list of theories. This is fundamentally flawed thinking right here. Science is a discipline that hopes to point us in the direction of the truth of reality. It's a way to help us to know what is true and what is false about reality. But he thinks that science is just a stack of theories that keeps building on top of each other. And that's not what science is. Does science produce scientific theories? Of course. But science is just the discipline. It's not the actual theories contained within it.
All the science you guys put in my comment section about...
Wait, I gotta read this meme real quick. So, according to him, flat earthers are about science, which is follows the evidence where it leads, embraces criticism. So, flat earthers do not embrace criticism. I'm sorry there, bro, but you don't, okay? I asked you to come on, like, to my channel and, like, discuss things, not debate. discuss things, and you wouldn't even do that. So yeah, you don't follow the evidence wherever it leads. Globebusters, Bob from Globebusters proved that particular point when he tried to get around the whole gyroscope thing. Uses precise terminology with clear definitions. In this video, you criticized us for using science jargon in our vernacular in order to describe these scientific principles, theories, and facts. And now you're saying that that is one tenet that you hold to? Oh, fuck, dude. Claims are conservative and tentative? No, you speak, yours isn't conservative, and it's definitely not tentative. You speak like very hardline when you talk about the moon being small and local as well as the sun.
You sound like an idiot.
Yes, you sound like an idiot. Properly considers all evidence and arguments. That's just fucking laughable right there. You don't consider, you have not actually researched anything for this entire video. I can guarantee you that. Uses rigorous and repeatable methods. Not rigorous, maybe repeatable, but I mean, you have to develop special shit for your own shit to work, and you got to develop special explanations and special exceptions for like light and how shit moves and all this other shit. So no, this doesn't apply at all either. Engages with peers and community. Well, I would say that you guys do engage well with each other, although you guys have like started separating into different cliques where different people or, you know, NASA shills or conspiracy or controlled opposition. I mean, everybody has a different opinion in your community as to who's controlled opposition or not. Engages with peers and, follows careful and valid logic. Careful and valid logic? There's not a bit of logic in this motherfucker, okay? Changes with new evidence. No, you fucking don't. You don't change with new evidence. What the fuck are you even talking about? This is so fucking ridiculous. Nothing on this entire thing is true when you label it as flat earthers versus globeheads. Flat earthers are in the pseudoscience area, and the quote-unquote globeheads actually practice science. So fuck your meme hard.
About the globe isn't really science at all. It's theories. It's a theory that someone came up with at one time or another. People accepted it as scientific facts and moved on with life, and they open their textbooks and go to science.com and they preach it all the time. They preach in their videos.
Okay, so hold on a second. You're telling me that people like Eratosthenes, all the way up to Galileo and Newton and all that, they just made up some kind of weird fucking idea and then opened up science.com? Like, I mean, come on, dude. We have known that the Earth is a globe for a long time. The flat Earth community has only been around since like the late 19th century. So I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about right now.
They preach it in my comment section, and they pass it off as scientific fact, when in fact, it is still a theory, because you yourself cannot go out and test any of the things I just mentioned. You cannot.
Yes, we can. We can go out and test these things. We can test everything that you've had a problem with. Just because you say that we can't doesn't mean that we actually can't. Because we do. We've tested for black holes. We've tested gravity. We've tested all of these things.
Test any of these things and come up with the same results as the original theory. Am I right or am I wrong? Because I believe that I am right.
And you are fucking wrong.
Therefore, it is not science. And
well, no, what you do is not science. You don't do science. You do pseudoscience. And I'm so glad that you pointed it out with that fake ass meme.
The reason why I do not get in debates with these other globe channels and all these globe believers, the reason why I don't get in debates is because you guys sit up here and you talk based in scientific theory. You talk in a universe based in scientific theory. That's like if, pull it up here. I mean, that's like if you say, hey, we're gonna talk in a whole world based on Marvel Comics. That's what we're gonna do. So if the Green Lantern fought Spider-Man, who would win the fight? And you guys are sitting here having a whole community debates like Comic-Con, but for global believers, but you guys are passing it off as fact. So instead of saying that us flat earthers are passing things off as scientific fact, why don't you ask the global believers who are passing theories off as scientific fact? I cannot live in the Marvel universe. I do not live in this universe. Venom isn't real. The X-Men isn't real. Spider-Man isn't real. Captain America isn't real. Wolverine isn't real. But it's a great story, right? Everybody wants to believe a good story.
Okay, I'm stopping him right there. This is called a false equivalence fallacy. Okay, he's equating science or the discipline of science to the Marvel fucking universe. Okay, and I don't even know how he got there, other than this thing is a body of science. It's a discipline of science. This right here is a collection of fucking characters. Like, even trying to explain it now, I don't get the connection, but he's trying to make it. I would say that within science, we don't have something that's like a story or anything like that. We have scientific observations, we have facts, we have theories. The theories explain how things work. That is in no way related to a fictional universe. And I feel like you're only doing this to be derogatory or to play down scientific theories. See, these scientific theories are, like I said, built on scientific facts. The facts don't necessarily change, but the scientific theories can be augmented and refactored and presented as a new theory that doesn't mean that the previous theory is wrong, just more like incomplete. Because if you take the theory of gravity, for instance, Newtonian physics and everything like that had one particular frame of reference, but then when you expanded it to other frames of reference, like light speed or near light speed, the physics doesn't work out. So Einstein created general relativity and then special relativity and all this. So I mean, there's this gradual change, but presented with new theories. And that is nothing like a Marvel universe.
I can't have a debate on facts and what we observe in real life based on the Marvel universe, because we all know, you and me both know, you know, and I know that the Marvel universe is not based in reality. So therefore, we cannot use it as a basis to build facts upon. Same thing with the globe, the heliocentric model. It is based on, you gotta believe that the Big Bang Theory happened, you gotta believe that dinosaurs are real, you gotta believe that we came from monkeys, you gotta believe that black holes are real, you gotta believe that there's infinite galaxies, you gotta believe there are thousands of other Earth-like planets, you gotta believe that gravity can pull things to the center of the mass and attract other objects to each other, and also make objects stay in orbit of each other, which cannot be tested and repeated.
Okay, so I'm going to stop him right there. I was trying to find a good place to stop. So all of those things that he said are verifiably scientific fact. These things are based off of observations, measurements, experiments. All of those things that he listed are based on empirical evidence to say that, yes, those are true, they do exist, or that did happen. But he's trying to brush it off as like these unproven theories. And he still has this bass-ackwards mentality of the idea that theories aren't supported by anything and that they're just wild ideas that we come up with. And it's just so incredulous for him to do this. For him to speak about how flat earthers, do the research and they do the experiments and all of that. And then he makes a video where he shows that he never did any kind of research and he never does anything. Because everything that he has right there in front of him that he's using to make this video is here because of science. And he wants to say that, we can't build any kind of working model of reality off of the Marvel universe. It's like, okay, that's true. But science and the truth that science gives us is not akin to the Marvel universe. Because science scientific principles and scientific facts gave rise to the electronics that you're using to make this, the camera, which is an electronic, I know, but the camera you're using to film this, the internet that you use to upload this to YouTube, YouTube itself, all of those things were made possible by science. So obviously, science is okay with you, at least the science that we use is okay with you when it pertains to confirming your own, your own like models and whatnot, or things that you use in your daily life that you just take for granted as just working. You're fine with those. But when it conflicts with the flat earth model, that's when you say, that's not science. Motherfucker, it's the same science we've always been using.
You guys are building a whole factual database and
believe in something, even if it means lying about everything. Just fake it. This is just derogatory. Like, there's no purpose in this. It's just derogatory and serves to make nothing but like a shitty statement about Bill Nye.
Model and thing that's not based upon observable, repeatable, livable experiences. So you guys are basing a whole argument on something that I can't even live in. Like I said, it's like basing a whole argument based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Marvel Comic Universe.
This is so false because the observable, repeatable evidence that you have, that supports, or you use those things to make scientific facts, or to make scientific statements or scientific factual statements, and then those facts and statements back up scientific theories. So what you're saying here makes literally no sense. And he's got a meme up saying, "Hi, I'm Albert Michelson, American scientist. My experiment proves that Earth does not rotate." And no, what he's talking about here is the Michelson-Morley experiment. What that experiment meant to do was to determine whether or not the ether actually existed. And they devised this experiment where they had two light rays, or maybe it was lasers or something. I think maybe it was two lights that were pointing in perpendicular or orthogonal directions. And then you're supposed to be able to detect whether or not like an ether was around, because it would affect the light beams. And so basically the experiment ended and they determined that they could not detect the ether at all. And if you can't detect the ether, then it doesn't exist. Just like we can't detect that the earth is flat, so it's not flat. So what I've heard flat earthers do is exactly what he's doing right here, and that's paint it as it proving that the earth doesn't spin. But as we know from Globebusters, honey, the earth does spin. He had a high precision ring laser gyroscope detect a 15 degree per hour turn in the earth, or drift, which detected the earth spinning. So you're just wrong, even by your own flat earth experiments.
It's not real. We can't do that. So this is why I do not get into debates with other globe believers, other globe channels, because all they're going to do is throw some scientific jargon at you and say, oh, you're dumb because you don't understand how it works. Well, sure.
Okay, for one thing, we're not just going to throw scientific jargon at you. Sure, we'll talk to you in an intelligent fashion, but it's not going to be like scientific jargon or whatever. And this part right here, he's trying to say that you can't see the street level or whatnot of that building because of angular resolution, when in reality that's not at all what is the case. They always want to point that out, saying that if you zoom in, it all comes back into frame. It doesn't. As you can tell over there with the quarter and the ball and the soldier guy, that's with it zoomed out. That's with it zoomed in at the very bottom. And so if you just zoomed in on it, you would bring everything back into frame. But because the Earth is curved, or there is a curve and the Earth is spherical, you won't be able to see the street level of that building at all.
I could understand how it works if you can go out and you can show me, you can repeat it. Go out and repeat it. Go out and repeat that experiment. Go out and repeat that and make that theory now a fact, a scientific fact, because you can't.
Well, I mean, I would say he's partially right here because scientific theories don't become facts. That's not how that works. Scientific theories stay scientific theories until you can prove that the theory isn't applicable in every situation. And so the scientific facts, though, you can run through the scientific method and end up with scientific facts at the end of it. And those would inform the scientific theories. So again, he's showing how bass-ackwards he is with his understanding of how science is done.
And that is why I do not use any scientific facts or notions or anything, theories here on this channel, because Flat Earth is just based on people going out and living their everyday lives and what they observe and what they perceive in their reality.
I like how he said in their reality as if they live in a fucking different reality. I know they do. Yeah, you're right, honey. They do kind of live in a different fucking reality. So basically, he's saying that I don't use scientific facts on this channel because it's all made up bullshit, is what it boils down to. Now, I would like to point out how in the everything leading up to here, like in that one image, he painted the flat earthers as using actual science, while the globe heads use pseudoscience. And then in the previous one, he used angular resolution in order to get to, in order to figure out why you can't see the very bottom of that building. He's using scientific principles and statements and facts and all this other shit, which math can be considered a part of science because you have to use a lot of math in science in order to come to your conclusions, like laws, for instance, or mathematical descriptions of things in reality. Like the law of gravity is a mathematical description of gravity. And so he's using science in order to say that he doesn't use science. How fucked up is that? It's really fucked up.
And they test it with lasers and flights and levels and tons of different experiments you can do to test the non-movement, the non-curvature, all this stuff of the earth. You could do this, but you can't do it the other way on the globe side. It hasn't show it to me if it's been done. So this.
Okay. Behind the curve has a couple of experiments that show that there is a curve and that the earth is spinning. But I would like to point out how everything that he laid out there was based in science. Like, all of those experiments are scientifically based. All of the principles used in those experiments are scientifically based. The experiments around lasers are scientifically based. Experiments in general are scientifically based. All of that's scientifically based, but yet you say that you don't use science.
This is why when you guys say, do we even science? Do you guys go to school? Do you guys know science? You guys must have failed third grade science. Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Honey, he failed third grade science. That's why he's fucking doing this on the internet.
Sure, whatever makes you feel better. Now you can say whatever you want. But the fact is you believe in a laundry list of theories that have not yet been proven fact.
Okay, so I feel like he's pulling this up right now as if to say, here are the laundry list of theories that we believe as fact. When in actuality, none of these things are theories. If anything, it's up until the flat earthers globe heads portion down at the bottom, which I think he probably added. All of that's pretty factual, except he's swapped the flat earthers and globe heads portion. But that's not what makes up science. Those could be considered like, I guess, descriptive sentences of what science is and what pseudoscience is. But that's not what science is.
Simple. So when you guys ask flat earthers about science and you base your arguments on science, we laugh at that because we base our arguments on real world experiences.
Well, I mean, that makes two of us, because whenever I see your video, I can't help but to crack the fuck up. I mean, it's just so hilarious to think that we're over here making perfect scientific sense, and we have science, like scientific facts and theories and everything like that to back us up, and then you laugh at us and then say, nah, man, my shit's based in like observable shit that I can test and everything. And we're just sitting here like, but ours is too. We're just not dumb enough to misapply the science to confirm our own bias, which is exactly what you and other what you and other flat earthers are doing. You're using science inappropriately, misapplying it, and confirming your own bias. That's all that you do. While at the same time being hypocritical by saying you don't use science, but then use science to say that you don't use science.
Period. That's all science. That's all flat earthers based their arguments on is real world experiences, while global believers base their whole model, heliocentric model, on theories. And that's not something us flat earthers do.
Theories which are based on empirical evidence, which is based on observable and falsifiable things. It's such a mindfuck to listen to this.
I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for 3.0. Still working on that. You guys keep it flat out there.
Peace! Stole your thunder. I'm gonna let you finish here in a minute, but I just gotta say, this is the dumbest motherfucker on YouTube. Casey said, no, there's still Logan Paul. Yeah, that's it. He's done. He's got a little bit here at the end where he yells at his daughter or something to get her to be quiet while he's recording or something. But yeah, so he's gonna have he's gonna have a part 3 of this series that he's been doing, and I saw part 2, and I mean, it was nothing fabulous. So I'll see what he's got in 3, and we'll see then. But yeah, that's pretty much it for his video. I have to say, just as a I guess a summary, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's completely backwards in his understanding of science. He doesn't know how scientific theories are constructed. He doesn't know what scientific facts are. He doesn't know that scientific facts are based off of empirical evidence, which is observable, testable, and falsifiable. So he doesn't know how the scientific method works. He doesn't know how any of this shit works. And if you're looking for a quick summary, that would be it. And then he's a hypocrite. So, heathens, if you're going to be leaving us now, not sticking around for the comments, I hope that you guys will have a nice night, and I hope you'll stand up, use your voice, all that kind of good shit. We're going to be going into the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, the comments won't be available to you, at least not in the long term. And I guess everybody that's leaving or on the replay, you guys have a nice night, and we'll see you later.